Right. Good morning. So let us start our session. We were discussing about Kubernetes, and let's see the practicals of Kubernetes today. Let me show you. See, actually, uh, to practice this, to practice this Kubernetes, to practice this Kubernetes in the AWS, so it is not allowing us as a free tier. So that's why we are taking an option of Google Cloud. Okay, I'm going to show you. So whatever the cloud it is, so only the interface will changes. The options remains same. Okay, creating a cluster, everything remains same. Terminal, everything remains same. So only the interface changes. So since it is not allowing us to use that service in the AWS cloud, I'm going to show you in the Google Cloud. Let me show you. For this, you need to create an account in the Google Cloud. It is very simple. So if you have a Gmail account, then you can go to the website called, hope my voice is audible and screen is also visible.
Yes, Vamsi.
Yeah, you can go to a website called Google Cloud. Okay, please go to the website called Google Cloud. So once you click on Google Cloud, the very first option, Google Cloud Platform. Okay, Google Cloud Platform, otherwise cloud.google.com. The website is cloud.google.com. So click on cloud.google.com. You will be going to that particular website. Since I'm already having an account, since I'm already having an account, here, so I'm going to click on console. I'm just going to click on go to console. If you do not have an account, it will ask you to click on start a free trial and all. It is very simple. We are just logging into the account. We are just logging into the account by giving our Gmail account and password. So once you log in, it will ask you to start a free trial. You can click on start a free trial. Then it will ask you some card details. So make sure you are providing, whenever you are providing card details, make sure that should be enabled for international transactions again. Okay. You have to make sure that your card is enabled for international transactions. Once it is enabled for international transactions, then it will work out. Only 2 rupees will be deducted from your account. Google Cloud also will deduct only 2 rupees from your account. It will not charge more than that. And even that 2 rupees will also be refunded to you after 24 hours after successful verification of your account. So I'm already having an account. I've created an account. So let me show you how it will show actually. If you do not have an account, how it will show. So it will show you, like, suppose if I'm logging into Google Cloud by using a Gmail ID and password, it will ask you like this. This is the page you will get. Okay. Whenever you log in into a new mail ID. Okay. If you log in with a new mail ID, it will show you like this. The page will be looks like this. Then you have to click on start free. Otherwise, get started for free. So if you click on get started for free, so the next page will be open. Already I am done with my, this is the first step. See, what is the first step? You need to select, only 2 steps are there. The first step is like, you need to select which country you belongs to and what is your requirement. Actually, you are going to create this for a startup company or small company, whatever it is. So the option you have to provide is others. Please provide others. Okay. Otherwise, you can click on just a startup like that. Okay. Others, better you click on others. Click on terms and conditions and then click on continue option. So once you click on continue, it will ask for the payment information. So please go for the payment information. So like, how can you provide the payment? It will ask you for adding the card details and all. You can add the card details. It is showing like I have already added card details. So I'm going to select this particular option called add card or debit card. You can give your card number here and it will ask you about expiry date and all. Once you provide all the details, you can click on start free trial. That's it. Okay. That's it. You can able to log in into the account. As of now, I'm not going with that. I have already created an account. That's why I'm not going with that. You please try. It is a very simple process. But whenever you are trying, make sure that your card is enabled for international transactions. So now, this is my Google Cloud account. I am going for yes, I'm going to sign in with my account, which is having a. I'm already having an account in the Google Cloud, so that's why I'm trying to log in with that account. So I'm going to the console. I'm not going to start free. I'm not eligible for free. That's why I'm going to console. I'm clicking on console. So I'm going to. This is my console. Okay, this is my page. This is how the home page looks like. Sorry, this is not my mail ID. I'm going to switch. Okay, this is the page you like. This is the home page you will get. Okay, once you log in onto the console, this is how the page looks like. Then you can click on here. On the left-hand side, we're having many services. You can click on a service called Kubernetes Engine. Click on Kubernetes Engine. Once you click on Kubernetes Engine, it will ask you to create a cluster. It will ask you to create a cluster. The very first thing you need to do here is you need to create a cluster. How can we create a cluster? Create, then you need to create cluster by using two options here. You can create by using two options. There is an option called autopilot option. Another one is standard option. So which one is recommended? See, if you see here, Google manages your cluster. It is recommended. Okay. And this one is standard. If you want to manage your cluster, you can go with it. Either you can go with any one. So I want to go with the recommended option called this one. Okay. I'm configuring this cluster. I'm going with the autopilot option. Let me see, I'm not able to create. Let me say I'm not able to use this one. Let me try. As you see, when I click on that cluster, it is showing that you want to, when I'm clicking that create a cluster option, it is asking whether you want to create this cluster. It is asking to provide the cluster name. So I am giving the same name for my cluster one only. So it is asking the location type, in which location. As we see, right, in the AWS, we have different regions. In the Google Cloud also, we can see the different regions like US Central, okay? Like that, we can able to see different regions, US Central 1B, Central 1A, okay? US East 1B, US East 1C, like that, we are having different regions. So we can go for any region. We can go for any region and we can create our cluster. So whenever I'm going with the default option. I'm not changing any options here. I'm not changing any options here. So this is the default. When I go with this, it will create a default cluster. Let me show you. I am just creating a cluster. What happened? Insufficient regional quota to satisfy the request. This short 50. So actually, I am not able to create the default ones. Let me show you. Let me go with again. You can click on create option. Click on this standard option. Why? Because the autopilot option is not working. The standard. I'm going with the standard option. So anyhow, my account is also a free account. That's why I'm facing these issues. So I'm coming down. I'm coming down. I think we can create a default pool. Yes, I can go with the option called default pool. So how many nodes I'm giving here? I want to create a cluster with 3 nodes. I'm going with the default pool. Okay. So I'm going to create a cluster with 3 nodes. So I'm coming down and I'm going to create a cluster. I'm going with the default options only. I'm not going with any other options and all. I'm just going with the default options only. So anyhow, whenever I'm going with the default options also, it is showing like another insufficient regional quota resource capacity. Anyhow, let's see. There are some issues. Anyhow, we are trying to create some autopilot cluster. We will see whether it is able to create or not. Once it is created, we can connect to this cluster and we can execute our commands and all. So you know, right, what is cluster and all? Actually, cluster is nothing but a group of machines. Cluster is nothing but a group of machines. So within a cluster, whenever we are creating a cluster, it will ask you, whenever you are creating a cluster, it will ask you to give the number of nodes, to give the number of nodes. Suppose if I give the 3 there, if I give the number 3 there, 3 nodes will be created inside the cluster. If I give 4, 4 nodes will be created inside the cluster. So that is based on our requirement. So how many nodes you want to create inside your cluster, you can create. So anyhow, I'm creating a cluster called autopilot. We'll also create one more cluster. Let's see. I'm going to click on clusters. Okay, still it is showing that cluster is being created only. Anyhow, one cluster is created here. This is an autopilot cluster. So, but it is not showing any CPUs and nodes and all. Let me connect to this cluster. How can we connect to this cluster is like, we can select the cluster. We can go to the last. Here we have three dots, right? Actions. You can click on connect option and we can run in Cloud Shell. Click on Cloud Shell so that we will connect to the Cloud Shell. So I'm just giving some commands so to understand whether the cluster is created or not. Okay. So whenever I'm looking for pods, okay, if I want to check how many pods are running and all, we can give a command called kubectl get pods. First of all, when a cluster is created, we need to understand how many nodes are there. You see this cluster, autopilot cluster, it is not showing any nodes and all here. Okay, but in the cluster one, which I'm creating, the cluster one which I'm creating, the same US Central one, see, this is the standard cluster. It is showing two nodes. The number of nodes is estimated by the initial cluster. The cluster is being created, but here it is showing 2 nodes, but for the above cluster, it is not showing any nodes. So that's why I'm just identifying whether any nodes are there in the cluster or not. To see how many nodes are there, we can give a command called Kubernetes. Yes. So we have connected to a cluster called, you see, we got connected to a cluster called autopilot cluster. And whenever I give a command called kubectl get nodes, what it is showing, how many nodes it is showing? Kubectl get nodes. I'm giving a command to understand how many nodes are present in the autopilot cluster. When I'm giving that, it is showing like 2 nodes. Okay, we have created an autopilot cluster. Inside autopilot cluster, anyhow, it is not showing the nodes and all, but how many nodes are there? You can see here. By using command, I have used a command called kubectl get nodes. What is the meaning of kubectl get nodes? I told you all the Kubernetes commands will start with a keyword called, all the Kubernetes commands will start with a word called kubectl. So kubectl get nodes means it will display the list of nodes that are available in the cluster. These 2 nodes are available. Okay. So let me go there and let me create some, let me go to the documentation and let me create some things there.
Can you explain one more time, like how we have created autopilot cluster?
Yeah, I'll show you. So I'm looking for some commands. So you need to understand some commands. You try to understand. So anyhow, we know how to create a cluster. I'll show you how to create a cluster in the cloud, Google Cloud. You can open a. I have shown you how to connect to the terminal also. How to connect to the cloud by using, how to connect to the cluster by using the terminal. Name of the terminal is Cloud Shell Terminal. Okay, I've shown you, right, from where we have to go and where we have connected. So you have to go to the 3 dots option and you have to click on connect option so that it will be connected to the cluster. We can connect to the cluster. But anyhow, this is an autopilot cluster. This is managed by the cloud. It is not showing the number of nodes and all. Maybe let me refresh this. Let me refresh this so that it may show some nodes and all. No, it is not showing any option. It is not showing any nodes and all. Anyhow, suppose we have now autopilot cluster. Either you can connect with autopilot cluster or this one, cluster 1. We have created a standard cluster, right? We have created a standard cluster also. For connecting with any cluster, what you have to do, you have to select that particular one. Go to the last. We have 3 dots. Click on connect option. Run in Cloud Shell. You can click on run in Cloud Shell so that the Cloud Shell terminal will get opened. And one command, it will automatically take one command. So you have to just enter, that's it. Okay. So now I think we have created a cluster and we got connected to the cluster. Let me give some commands whether it is working or not. Kubectl get nodes. We have to give a command called kubectl get nodes to see how many. Yes. Anyhow, we are able to see 2 nodes. We are able to see here. We are able to see 2 nodes. Why? Because in the cluster, we have selected only 2 nodes, right? Can you tell me why it is showing like 2 nodes? Previously, actually, while I was creating a cluster, I have selected, by default, it was 3. The option was 3. Now I have created, I have given the value as 2. That's why this cluster was created with the 2 nodes. And how many CPUs were there? 4 CPUs. That means each and every node is having how many CPUs? We have only 2 nodes, right? But it is showing like 4 CPUs. This means what you have to understand, how many CPUs are there we are having? How many CPUs will be having for each and every node? For each and every node will be having
2.
2 CPUs. 8 GB memory in the sense each and every node is having 4 GB of RAM. Memory in the sense random access memory. So each and every node is having 2 CPUs and 4 GB RAM. This is what we got. Okay. So this is the default cluster we have created. We have gone to the standard option. There we have selected a default cluster. And there also we tried creating a cluster with 3 nodes, but maybe some resource demand is there. That's why I have reduced the number of nodes as 2. So it got created and we are able to see the nodes here. And how to run some commands. I'll show you how to run some commands inside this cluster and all. Anyhow, we have 2 nodes here. We have 2 machines inside this cluster. So the very first thing in the Kubernetes is that you have to create a cluster. Then once after creating a cluster, you can check by using the kubectl get nodes, kubectl get pods. What is the purpose of kubectl get pods? To see the list of pods, whether any pods are created or not. I'm giving a command called kubectl get pods. You can verify. So far, we have not created any pods, right? We have not created any pods. That's why it is showing like no resources found in the default namespace. No resources are found in the default namespace. Okay, we don't have any resources. So what we are doing, we are going to create a pod. We are going to create a pod. So this is the command we use to create a pod. How can we create a pod? By using commands also. Usually, we will do it by using YAML files. We will write our input in the form of YAML file and we will give the YAML file to the
Server.
kube we told the architecture. So we don't need to, we need to understand the architecture. But here, what we are doing, we will create an YAML file and we will run the commands so that the actual process will take place in the architecture, in the way of architecture. So who will take the YAML file? Master machine, right? So in cloud, you don't need to worry about the master machine. I already told you, master is provided as service. So master is being defaultly handled by the cloud itself. Anyhow, you provide the YAML file. The YAML file will be taken by the master and Kube API server component in the master. There is a program called Kube API server that the component will take the YAML file and that will forward the YAML file to which server? That will forward the YAML file to Kube API server will forward the YAML file to Kube scheduler. So we already had a discussion on the Kubernetes master components. Kube API server, Kube scheduler, controller manager, etcd. These are the 4 components we're having in the master. We will give YAML file to the Kube API server that will be moved to Kube scheduler. Kube scheduler is the important component I told you, right? Kube scheduler is the important component in the Kubernetes. It will perform the actions. So how it performs the actions? It will communicate with which agent? It will communicate with the kubelet agent in the node machine. In each and every node, once you are starting the Kubernetes as a service, in each and every node, there will be a program called kubelet. So the kube scheduler program in the master will communicate with the kubelet agent in the node machine. Okay. This process we have understood. So now I am going to give this command. Try to understand the meaning of this particular command. kubectl run. Okay, kubectl run. So I am going to run an image called Tomcat. kubectl run Tomcat. I'm going to run an image called Tomcat. And once we run this image, a pod will be created. We need to provide the name of the pod. kubectl run -- image. Name of the image is Tomcat. Name of the pod is web server. We are going to create a pod. What is the name of the pod we are creating? Web server is the name of the pod. kubectl run. Name of the pod is web server and the image name is Tomcat. So I'm going to take this one. I'm copying this command. I'm going to paste it here in the terminal. So kubectl run -- image Tomcat web server. Now you see what it is showing like pod or web server created. Pod is created. Let me bring this one. Can you able to see my screen properly? What is the command I have provided? kubectl run, image name is Tomcat, and the pod name is what? Web server. Pod is created. If you want to check, you can provide. If you want to check, you can give ls command. So here we are able to see by using ls command, we can see the files in this particular terminal. But to see the list of pods, how can we check to the list of, how can we check the list of pods? kubectl get pods.
Get pods.
Whatever the pods we have created so far. If you want to check the pods you have created so far, you can use a command called kubectl get pods. So only one pod is running, that is called web server. One pod is running and the name of the pod is web server. Okay. So similarly, then how can we can see the pods by using kubectl get pods and all. We can delete this pod also. How can we delete this pod? kubectl delete pods pod name. kubectl delete pods pod name. So you can delete the pod by giving a command called kubectl delete pods pod name. If I give this, you can see pod web server is deleted. Now you can see by using a command called kubectl get pods. No resources found in the namespace. Okay, we don't have any resources in the namespace. So like that, we can create pods and all. Let me open some other commands. So we understood that we have commands to create a pod. This is the command to create a pod, kubectl run. The name of the pod is web server. If you want to see the list of pods, we can use a command called kubectl get pods. If you do not specify the replicas, it will create only one replica. That means we are just asking to create pod. We are not asking to create any replicas, right? So if you do not specify replicas, it will create only one pod. Okay. We know how to delete a pod and all. So let's create pod once again. kubectl run. We are going to create a pod. Name of the image is what? Tomcat.
Tomcat.
So I'm going to copy this command as it is and I'm running once again. Previously we have deleted. Now I'm going to run the command as it is. If you run this command as it is, you can able to see pod is created. If you want to check, you can check by using a command called kubectl get pods. So once you give kubectl get pods, this is the pod I'm running. This is the pod running inside the cluster. So if you want to know in which node, we have two nodes, right? Inside the cluster, how many nodes we're having?
Two nodes.
Two nodes we're having. So you want to know in which node, on which node the pod is running. See, we cannot say, we are not giving any instructions. Okay, we cannot give any instructions for the pod to create on particular server. We are not giving any instructions. We are asking to create a pod. It is creating a pod. And we don't know on which node it is running. If you want to know on which node it is running, you can give a command called kubectl get pods -o wide output. kubectl get pods -o stands for output. Wide means wide output, detailed output. It will give you the detailed output of your pods. So it will show you on which node it is running and all. So you can give a command called kubectl get pods -o wide output. So you see here, how many pods are running? Only one pod is running. Where it is running? In a node called 39C-WKVH. So there are two nodes actually. There are two nodes. If you want to see the two nodes, now we are clear, right? The pod is running in this particular node. The node which is ending with WKVH. The node which is ending with WKVH. Now, similarly, you can also give a command called kubectl get nodes -o wide. If you want to see the detailed output of the nodes, kubectl get nodes -o wide. Yes, you can give like this also. Okay. So now you can see this is one node. This is one node. These are the nodes actually. This is one node and this is another node. And in which node our web server is running? Can you see? Our web server is our pod is running in which node?
Second one.
Which is running on which is ending with WKVH. So WKVH. This is the node. It is in this particular node our pod is running. So in this way we can find out. Okay, in this way we can find out in which node our pod is running and all. And we came to know the basic idea of this Kubernetes and all. Usually we have to give a definition file. We need to learn Kubernetes commands also, but usually we have to do it by using container orchestration will be performed by using by writing a definition file. Definition file is also called as AML file. Whatever the AML file we are talking about here, the AML file is nothing but a definition file. Okay, manifest file also. The other name for this is manifest. We call it with different names. Manifest file. Okay, manifest file, AML file, or otherwise definition file. Whatever you want, we can call it. But you see, the four top level elements, these are the four top level elements we're having. Okay, these are the four top level elements: API version, kind, metadata, specification. Let me go to the sample AML file. This is the AML file we're having. Okay, this is the AML file we're having. If you want, we can go to this AML file. We can save the AML file by using a command, by using this particular one, VIM space pod definition one dot AML. Okay, so let me copy this. Let me copy this. I'm giving the same command. I'm pasting the same command as it is. kubectl VIM space pod definition one dot AML. So is there any file called pod definition one here? No. If there is no file called pod definition one, if I'm giving the first time, okay, VI space pod definition one, a new file will be created. Pod definition one file will be created. This is for creating a new file. Usually, we will also use this command for editing the file. We will edit this file by using, we will edit this pod definition one.aml. We can edit this file by using this one, okay? But whenever this file is not existing, okay, if a file with this name is not existing, we can edit that one. We can create this file by using this command, VIM space this one. So anyhow, we are file. See it is asking to provide some contents. Okay, you can give the contents here. You can paste your contents over here. So insert button, press insert button, go there, copy the AML file which you want to copy. You can copy the AML file which you want to copy here. I have copied the AML file by using Control V option. I have copied from there and I have pasted here by using Control V option. Then you can give escape button, Shift:WQ. You know how to whatever the commands we use in VI editor, the same commands we are using. Okay, so we are giving AML file and all. That's it. You know, we understood the AML file, right? API version, kind, metadata, specification. The four elements will be common. We are creating a pod, and by using an image called Nginx. Name of the container is app server. Name of the pod is what? This is the name of the pod, Nginx pod. And this is the author name, who is creating this AML and all, who has written this AML file or who is creating this pod, author name and all. So since this Nginx is a reverse proxy, this Nginx is a web server, Nginx is an app server actually. This server is type of reverse proxy. I'll tell you, we'll understand reverse proxy. What is reverse proxy? So Shift:WQ, I am using :WQ, enter. That's it. I'm saving the contents. I'm exiting from the AML file. We have saved the AML file. And now we need to run that AML file. How to run an AML file now? How to run the AML file? Command to run the definition file or AML file. kubectl create -f pod definition one.aml. You can see this command. Okay, this is the command we are using. kubectl create -f. -f means we are going to create by forcefully. So kubectl create -f pod definition one.aml. We are going to run this. Okay, we are going to run this AML file so that what happens we will see. So we are running this AML file. Let's understand what happens. Nginx pod is created. After running this AML file, a pod is created. Say we can create a pod by using a simple command. Okay, but that is not the good practice. That is not a good practice. We have to write our input in the form of AML files. Then only we have to create our pods and all. So now we have created a pod. If you want to see how many pods we have created so far, kubectl get pods. How many pods we have created? 2 pods are running. One is web server pod, other one is Nginx pod. Okay, you know, right, how many number of nodes we are having? You can see by using kubectl get nodes. You can also see by using kubectl get nodes. Yes, we have seen kubectl get pods, kubectl get nodes. We know all these comments. Now, if I want to delete the pod, what happens if I want to delete the pod created from the above file? We will delete the definition file. Okay. So what happens now if I do not delete the YAML file? The pod will be running always. Okay. The pod will be running always. So now you see, I'm going to delete the pod. I'm going to delete the pod by using an YAML file. We have seen, right, some method like how to delete a pod and all. We are now going to delete the pod created from the file. So similarly to a pod created from the file is pod definition 1.yaml. If I want to delete the pod from the file, I need to use this command kubectl delete -f. Kubectl delete -f, the same command I have to use. So now you see pod, Nginx pod is deleted. Kubectl delete -f pod definition 1.yaml pod is deleted. Now we have only one pod that is called Nginx. That is called what pod that is running? Only web server pod is running. So this is how we will simply create a pod and all. Okay, this is how we will simply create a pod and all. So to delete the pod from the file which is created, we can delete it by using this one. So now we'll understand the difference between a pod and replication controller. Okay. So what is this one? Replication controller. This is mainly for handling multiple replicas of a specific pod. So replication controller is mainly for performing or handling multiple replicas. Okay. And the YAML file differs. YAML file is differs. So previously we had only one specification section. Now we have added two specification section here. One specification section is for replicas. Another specification section is for the image. Okay. So you can understand here API version V1. Why we are giving V1, we understood. For all the objects, for all the Kubernetes objects, we will give V1 only. Oh, except two things. What are the two things? What are the two things? What are the two objects? What are the two Kubernetes objects where we give the API version as app/v1? For replica set and deployment, that also we will see. For replication controller, we were giving only v1. Kind is replication controller. Name of the object we are providing. What is the name of the object? Replication controller. So metadata, it is about replication controller. Whatever the metadata you want to provide about your replication controller, you can provide. The metadata is like, I'm going to create a replication controller. Even if you are not able to find this YAML, you can go there. You can go to the Kubernetes documentation. Let me go to the Kubernetes. Let me go to the Google. I'm just giving like replication controller YAML file. Okay, replication controller YAML file. Go to the replication controller YAML file. You can see here, you can understand what is the kind, what is the API version? V1. Kind is what? Kind is what? Replication controller. What is the name of the replication controller I'm providing? Nginx is the name of the replication controller. There are two specification sections you can understand. This specification section is for replicas and this specification section is for image. What is the image I'm going to pull? Nginx is the image and name of the container is Nginx only. What is the port number I'm using? 80 is the default port number. Okay, that port number only I'm using. And you see the one more specification section. We are giving replicas. We are giving replicas. And here you can able to find a field called selector template. We'll understand what is the selector field and what is this template on top. Okay. So this template we are using for providing the metadata, about the replication controller. Okay. Once you keep on going this YAML files, you'll understand why we are providing the meta. This is metadata about this one. This is the metadata about this particular replication, replicas and all. Okay, this metadata is about the name of the replication controller, author details and all. Here we can provide. Okay, replication controller, kind is replication controller. If I want to execute this one, how can I execute? How can I execute? You can copy this YAML. See, you can copy this YAML file. So before that, you can provide a name. You can provide some name to this YAML. Okay, I'm copying VIM space replication controller.yaml. I'm copying VIM space Otherwise, we can see the same YAML file here we are having. I'm going to give the same YAML file. Otherwise, we can copy it from there also. So first you need to provide the name. We'll see. I'm copying this. I'm going to provide the VM space replication controller.yaml. So let me copy it from here, from where I'm going to copy it. I'm going to copy it from documentation. Where is the documentation? Yes. Copying it. Okay. Then going here, please give insert button. Okay. Control plus V. Control plus V gives you the paste option. Then how to save it? Escape, Shift : WQ. We have saved this YAML file. And we know how many replicas we have created. If you want to see the YAML file once again, you don't need to open by using edit option. Cat, we have an option called cat, right? We have a cat option. What is the purpose of cat? What is the purpose of cat command? It will display the contents of replication controller.yaml. You see, these are the contents we have provided. API version, this one, kind replication controller. How many replicas we have provided? We have given how many replicas to create?
3.
We have provided as an input as 3 replicas to create. So let's see whether 3 replicas will be created or not. So how can we run this? We have given some YAML file. How can we run the YAML file? kubectl create -f. What is the name of the file? Replication controller.yaml. kubectl create -f replication controller.yaml. Now you see replication controller is created. You can see here the replication controller is created. How can you see the replication? How can you see the replicas? You can see kubectl get pods. Previously, you know how many pods were running? Only one pod was running, right? Only web server was running. Now we are able to see 3 replicas of Nginx. Of the Nginx, same Nginx image, 3 pods are running. With the same Nginx image, 3 pods are running. Why? Because in the YAML file, we have provided the replicas as 3. We have provided the replicas as 3. That's why, okay, that's why we are able to see 3 files, 3 pods running. Okay, 3 pods are running. 3 were started at the same time. About 19 seconds ago, all the 3 pods were running. All the 3 pods were running 19 seconds ago. This is what we need to understand. Whenever replication controller is for, what is the difference between a pod and replication controller? We started with a pod, and then we are going to discuss with replication controller. The main difference is, like, if we go with the pod object, pod is also a Kubernetes object. We are talking about Kubernetes objects. What is the smallest Kubernetes object we can create? What is the smallest object in Kubernetes that we can create? Pod is the smallest object. So next level is replication controller. That means if I want multiple replicas of the same pod, that is not possible with an object called pod. If I want to create multiple replicas, that is not possible with the object called pod. So that's why I'm going with the replication controller. Inside replication controller YAML file, I'm giving the replicas. I'm mentioning the replicas under specification section. I'm mentioning the replicas. So how many replicas I want to create? I want to create 3 replicas. That's why I'm providing 3 replicas. Okay. That's why I'm selecting 3 replicas. So that's fine. I have created 3 replicas. That's fine. 3 replicas are created. All the 3 were running in the running state. So now we will understand the remaining things. Let me go to the. So how can we delete all the pods? Now 3 replicas we have created. Okay. Now we have created 3 replicas. How can we delete all the pods at a time? Is it possible to delete all the pods at a time? Yes, we can delete all the pods by using kubectl delete -- all pods. Kubectl delete -- all pods. We can delete by using a command called kubectl delete -- all pods. Let's see whether this command will work or not. Yes, all pods are deleted. All pods are deleted. Okay, all pods are deleted. But now see, we will see by using a command called kubectl get pods. What happened? What happened? Just now we have deleted, right? Just now we have deleted a pod. Just now we have deleted kubectl delete hyphen all pods. But now again all the pods were recreated 12 seconds ago. We have deleted them. Just now we have deleted them. Again, they were created. Now let me see. Let me delete again. Okay, no confusions. I'm going to delete all the pods. Kubectl delete all the pods. All the three pods were deleted. You observe carefully. All the three pods were deleted. Now when I'm going to see whether any pods are available or not, again 9 seconds ago, all the three pods were created once again. What is the reason? I told you, right? In the master component, so we have not deleted the YAML file. YAML file is running. But you see about this web server pod. This web server pod is not created by using the web server pod is not created by using
YAML file.
That is not created by using YAML. Now all these replica sets, all these replication controller pods, these pods were created by using YAML. So whenever I deleted the pod, this pod got deleted and it is not recreated. This pod is not recreated. Even you can see after some time also that pod will not be recreated. Why? Because we have deleted the pod. We have not created that by using YAML file. That YAML file is not there. Once you have created a pod by using YAML file, there is an advantage or there is a functionality of the Kubernetes. Like whenever you delete the pod, pods will be automatically recreated if the file is existing, if the YAML file is existing. If the YAML file is existing, the pods will be recreated again. Okay, even though you delete the pod, immediately it is recreated. I told you, right? So if there is any issue with the pod and if pod get crashed, what happens? If there is any issue with the pod and if any pod get crashed, what happens? No
The
issue.
other node will get the request.
If any pod get crashed, that pod will be deleted automatically and a new pod will be created. If any pod get crashed, a new pod will be created automatically. A new healthy pod will be created automatically. That is the advantage of Kubernetes we are having. You don't need to worry about the load balancing and all. Why do we worry about the load balance? We don't need to create pods and all. We need to mention how many replicas you want. We just need to mention how many replicas you want. If you require 3 replicas, we are mentioning the 3 replicas I want. 3 pods are running. Even I am deleting all the 3, they are recreating again. Why? Because the YAML file is still there. If you want to delete all these things permanently, what we have to do? We have to delete
YAML file.
YAML file. What is the YAML file? kubectl delete. Kubectl delete. This is the YAML file, right? Kubectl, you can give a command called kubectl delete -f, the replication controller. So now you can see the YAML file is deleted. I'm going to check the pods. Can we able to see any pods in the namespace? No. I have deleted the YAML itself. Okay, we are giving the YAML to the API server. API server is forwarding the YAML to the kube scheduler. Kube scheduler is the important component. Kube scheduler is the main component here that will communicate with the nodes. And there is a component called controller manager. I told you while we were discussing about the Kubernetes architecture, there is a component called controller manager. What is the task of controller manager?
To
Even though,
make sure
yeah, it will make sure the actual
the
state
actual result equal to desired result.
always equal to desired state. Okay. So what is the desired state? I have deleted the pods. When I delete the pods, when I give the command for deleting the pods are getting deleted. Pods are getting deleted, but controller manager is there. What controller manager is doing? According to the YAML file, the requirement is there or not. Controller manager is making sure that according to the YAML file, whether the requirement is there or not. In the YAML file, they have mentioned 3 replicas. Whether all the 3 replicas are running or not, it will verify, and it will recreate immediately. If the pod is not there, it will immediately recreate the pod. That is the main thing we need to understand in the Kubernetes. Okay, we'll stop it for today. Okay, we'll discuss tomorrow. Okay, please practice. Please try to create an account in the Kubernetes. Create an account. Create an account and please practice these commands and all. Okay, this will be helpful for you. Thank you all. Any doubts, please let me know. Thank you. Meet tomorrow.